It's been 30 years since I've been at Bradford, and today has been a really interesting day. I mean, what a facility. I mean, the organisation and the facilities are obviously much larger. I was very interested to hear how education, higher education in particular, and management education has changed since the 80s, and how Bradford has adapted and survived and thrived despite those changes. So, very heartening experience, and I'm very, very keen to develop my relationship and my firm's relationship with the organisation. And yeah, very inspiring day, very inspiring indeed.
Coming back to the school is possibly not as strange as some of my colleagues and classmates. I've stayed in touch with the university over the years because of the businesses that I've been in, mostly in academic management publishing. So I actually know Heaton Mount and the school and quite a lot of the staff quite well. But even so, it's great to be here in a different circumstance and see some friendly faces from many years ago.
Well, I found today very interesting. A little bit down memory lane. The 30 years since I came to do the MBA has gone very, very quickly. But it brought back very positive memories. The business school has obviously changed in the 30 years. And the investment and the layout of the school seemed very encouraging for now and going forward with regards to developing the courses that you have. So, yeah, very positive memories, very positive day to day.
Bradford University Management School was one of the first management schools, and it has always punched above its weight, and it's retained that ranking. It's still there in the top 10. I've always been very proud to be a Bradford MBA, and in my business career have always promoted Bradford.
I sometimes say to people that we did it was a very practical MBA that we did here, and that was one of the things that attracted me. And I remember the course that we did on operations and production management. I think the year before that it had just been changed from a course on factory management. The course was actually called factory management, and that was kind of that's kind of fascinating to tell to some of the younger academics and the younger students nowadays, and they're like, "You've learned a course called factory management? What's that about?" It was a very although I have nothing but affection for the program, it was actually very different. It was very functional. So you got taught things in functional lines. You got taught production as production, and marketing as marketing, and finance as finance. I think nowadays business education is much more cross-functional, much more interdisciplinary.
I came from 2 years of teaching, so I had no experience whatsoever of a business world. But I found that the enthusiasm and the passion and the wide range of courses and the areas that we studied, I found it compelling. And I think I was mentioning to people downstairs that the amount of output that I got after 1 year of an MBA is multiples of what I did for my undergraduate. And maybe we'll talk about my career in a second, but it absolutely springboarded my career over the last 30 years.
The big thing for me is that the connections that I made and the things that I learned from some of the other students who had a lot of experience, and some of them were very senior in the industry at the time, was as valuable, frankly, as some of the content, some of the lectures that I had.
Something which I didn't realise, I guess, as an arts graduate, which is business. Business is really interesting, and there's some really interesting stuff there. And again, as a career, I guess I've followed through some of the intellectual and the academic and research-based parts of business. So, I mean, yeah, I've been a practitioner and I am a practitioner again now, but also, you know, I've done a little bit of teaching. It's allowed me to spend time in business schools around the world. You know, I did some work in Australia, which was great, and in the States, which was fun, and in London. I did a couple of guest classes here on the MBA program a few years back. And that's been a real gift. It's a fabulous thing to be able to actually help and teach and share some knowledge with other people. So yeah, it opened up a whole lot of doors. So I always look on my time at Bradford with nothing but affection, and it's become one of the world's great business schools, and you know, kudos to the staff and the management for doing that.
As I say, I was the first MBA that NatWest ever took on, and I have had 30 years in banking, 30 years in global financial markets. I know the banking fraternity isn't exactly the most popular industry at the moment, but I've had a fantastic career. I've travelled the world. Every day is different, and it's been very engaging, and I'm probably going to retire in the next 12 months, but if I hadn't had Bradford and I hadn't done my MBA, I would not have entered the City of London, and I would not have had my career. It's as simple as that.
I think the thing that I remember most fondly of my time in Bradford was the case study method. So working very late in the evening with a group of talented individuals from diverse backgrounds to come up with a solution. That was probably the best preparation you can have for the real world and for business, because of course business problems are solved by intelligent, diverse teams working as a team towards a common goal.
Well, Bradford is one of the oldest business schools in the UK. Looking to the future and of Bradford, I think the location of Bradford and the buildings of Bradford, I think it has a very positive future. Obviously it has to have the up-to-date courses and the best lecturers, and it has to be global.
I think that Bradford over the last 50 years has added value. It's one of the main stayers within the education market, and it's evolved. I mean, some of the things that it's doing now with centres in Dubai and in the Middle East and in other parts of the world, and the way that it's grown is distance learning, and I think the term is blended learning, which I've learnt about today. It's fascinating how it's evolved.
If we'd sat here 20 years ago and I'd said this is all going to be about accountability and social responsibility and understanding how important that is, people would have thought I was nuts, and they don't, you know, nobody would say that was nuts anymore. It absolutely has. Business will not survive if it's at war with a society around it.
In terms of Bradford, as I said before, I think the business school is in an excellent position. The tradition of the school is very strong. The location of the school is very strong. It's got global roots in terms of where it can now operate, and in terms of distance learning, MBA, full-time, part-time. It's very diverse about how it operates its MBA. So I think in terms of the future is very positive, but it needs to be very proactive in relating the courses that it's going to offer to its students to what the environment and economy wants, and it needs to have the best lecturers and professors teaching and lecturing those courses.
So I think the future for Bradford's bright. I mean, you know, it's survived for 50 years. Obviously the higher education market is more difficult. I think students now are much more discerning. I think they want more, they demand more, and they deserve more. And Bradford has done well. It's still there. It's a very vibrant organisation, and I'm proud to be associated with it.